Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy South Central again. Today we are reviewing a podcast called The Whatever Podcast. This podcast kind of exposed the dating pool, right? What's in the dating room, especially in modern day times. And I believe that people need to see this. This is not so much political, but it is political when it comes to the next generation and how the next generation is raised. I can't deny that women are different from what they used to be, okay, as far as what they value and what they don't value. And this is a clip from the Whatever Podcast. What I think about today's women, especially modern women, the modern day feminists, is that they kind of destroyed America. Women are the teachers. They're the teachers of culture, especially when society is becoming more fatherless. It used to be about duty. It's no longer about that. It's more about being free. Okay, do what you want. And to me, there's no problem with that. But it doesn't work. Okay, because they want to be free from duty. They want to be free from the traditional roles that worked. Women are being led astray from what their superpower is, especially being next to a man and giving birth and starting a family and creating the nuclear family, because that's what carried America. And when women are straying away from that, guess what? Men are straying away from their traditional roles as far as being masculine and being what they're supposed to be, right? So nowadays men are becoming more feminine. They're losing their ways of what we used to be, hunting. But in today's time, women do complain about men being weak, and rightfully so. But they got to understand that they made them weak. But that's a little bit of my concept of what's going on in today's time, especially when it comes to dating and the dating pool and what's going on in society. But I would love to get into this video because it's very telling, and give my commentary about the video because it's a lot of buffoonery, no accountability. So, all right, guys, let's get into the video and let's see what we get from it.
Last thing from you, Atlas, in your pre-show notes to us, you said, I guess one of my hot takes is asking people's body count is immature.
Yeah, okay, why I don't even have a high body count, but like I have friends that...
Sorry.
This is what I don't get about women. If you don't have a high body count, why do you care if people ask you your body count? It's kind of weird. It's very contradictory to say, well, that's immature for you to ask about that, but my body count is low. That's kind of contradicting. You basically telling on yourself. If I didn't know your body count, I would be very skeptical about you, okay?
Sorry, well, maybe I do to actually. Maybe I do to like certain people or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. Because I watch a lot of dating podcasts of. It seems to be like quite a bit older people than like you, and what? And their take on stuff like that, I kind of think is true. Like, it seems like people who are older and more mature aren't really having those conversations. And
they look like they got 3 older women and 3 younger women just to get an idea of how the older they're not older like 70s, so they're modern day older women, if that makes sense, because they're not the grandmothers who's being a grandmother. They're the grandmothers who's trying to compete with the younger women, in my eyes, because look how they dress. Okay, maybe the one to the left in the middle with the pink and all that, she looked kind of like clothed, but you can see that they're not the average grandmother that our grandmothers used to be, our great grandmothers used to be. All right, they're trying to fit in, if that makes sense, with the younger crowd. But then, to me, it's a great panel because you get the perspective of both, and see where we went wrong, to be honest, because hopefully they can speak some truth to these younger women, and these younger women can learn something from them if they have knowledge and they have discernment that they used to have when it comes to traditional roles.
And maybe it's because the woman or the man is not giving the vibe that they're sketchy, promiscuous, so we don't need to talk about your exes.
That's
like, it's
because
not
the boomers grew up during the sexual revolution, and they're all degenerate
So the guys,
Promiscuous. I'm kidding. If there's
the
any
two
difference.
guys that I watch, I think they're like in their mid 40s.
This was before the HIV. Okay, I don't know. Wait, was it? Hold on.
They're like in their mid 40s. I think I listed their names on my application of the people I listen
think I might have
to.
missed it.
He's like, I don't want to give them free publicity, but yeah, I just feel like depending on how that conversation comes up, okay, I think there is a certain way it could come up, like kind of when I was like questioning him on it and the way he explained it, I can get it, but I think the way it typically tends to come up is just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just
The question to me is this: why do you feel so offended by that question? Men are, if women just give up in their minds that men actually care about that, I don't think it would be just such a big deal for them. But to me, it's weird that they truly don't understand that men care about this. Just because you don't care about something does not mean men do not care about that. All right? Although men do seek for women because it's traditional. Men are hunters. We go seek for women. We have to talk to you guys. So a lot of men will hide the fact that they care about it because they want to be a catch. Men do care about your body count. Don't let anybody lie to you and say that it shouldn't matter. It does matter. You're not in a relationship by yourself. When you're attracted to the opposite sex, you have to understand what they like and what they dislike. And men do not like a woman with a troubling past because it will hurt the man in the future. And women do not like a man with a troubled past as far as what he's done when it comes to beating women and all that other stuff. If he'd done that, I'm sure she would use that against him. That matters to her, just like body count matters to us, because if we marry you, it will bring shame to our last name because we give our last name. We marry you, it will bring shame to us in society, and men value respect from others.
Why do you feel like it's not like an appropriate question to ask? I know it's
it depends on context.
Do you think it's fair for a man to care about that?
I do. I think, but I also not to a certain extent. Right?
To me, it's like they're children. Like, you did something bad and you don't want to be accountable for it. So it's like, no, you shouldn't care about what I did. No, we do care about what you did because it affects us in the long run. If you expect me to be a man, protect you, you have to understand that I got to know who you are. I'm not going to be the laughing stock. If people are laughing, we going to be laughing together because I know what happened if I choose to accept it. But if everybody laughing at me and I don't know what they laughing about, I'm going to be like, what the hell just happened? Who am I with? Who is this person? And mind you, I'm going to give you a little backstory. Me growing up in South Central, all right? Los Angeles, California, the hood. More men have died, especially gangs, have died over a promiscuous woman than ever. And there's still rival gangs beefing over in the past about a woman. So her past does matter. There's still wars going on. If they would have avoided this woman and understood that not every woman is worth dying for and fighting for, a lot of problems would have been solved. But due to men still having a caring heart and letting things go and not doing their research on certain promiscuous women, people are still dying. Mothers are still losing their sons to shit that does not matter. But women don't understand that because they're not the bearer of consequences. If we deal with you, we bear the consequences. So it's so oblivious to you. It's so confusing to you why it matters so much. But it does.
So it's like,
to what extent do you think it's fair?
if you're worried that they are so promiscuous that they could maybe have an addiction, they could cheat on you, or maybe they have an STD.
That sounds like some great reasons.
So I think those are great reasons.
To what degree do you think it's not fair for a man to care?
To what degree do I think it's not fair for men to care? If you don't give off any of those vibes, like you guys have a really good relationship, you're not.
To be fair, okay, when you're first dating a woman, she's not coming right off the bat saying I'm a hoe, okay? She gonna hide it as much as she can because I want this guy to like me, especially if you're a likable guy and you have things that, if you acquire things that you know that women would like, as far as having a great career, working out, you know what I'm saying? You acquired a nice body. You work for this. Women are not going to tell you what they have done in the past or show you the promiscuous side. They're not going to show you that. That comes later on. All right. But what we're saying as men is that does matter. And you should know right off the bat before you make that decision, because those decisions will indeed bite you in the end if you don't make the right decision and you don't court her accordingly. Okay. And my take is this: if a woman get offended about you asking about her body count, she's for the streets, okay? i.e. a whore, all right? She's not worth it. She's not worth your time, because women ask for a lot. They want you to be a man. Although troubling times is here and women don't like toxic masculinity, they surely do want a toxically masculine male, and they always have, all right? They expect that from you. So me willing to die for my woman that I am with, right? Give my last name to, give everything. I have to severely court her, because I've seen, especially me, I've seen it before. I've seen the improper courting of a woman, and it led to mass genocide, and it's still happening. And it's so stupid because nobody saw it. It's not solved yet. That woman's probably somewhere out doing what she wants to do. Okay. Still probably causing issues, sleeping around with the ops. Okay. Sleeping with one gang member to the next gang member. Then they fight. Now it's a war over a woman, not courting her proper. It's important. And women need to understand that a lot of times y'all in the middle of this, and it's fair for us to care about that. It's nothing against you, but we have the right to avoid you depending on our circumstances, because sorry to say, a lot of women are not worth it. You're not worth it.
Scandalous. He knows you're not promiscuous. Maybe he knows that you've been checked and you are clean. It's like, why does it matter?
I'll tell you why it matters. If a woman has a body count of 50, for example, and I find that out, I'm going to be asking.
Is that where the high starts? Like, where's the
Oh, it's lower than that.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me.
Like
I
for
wanna
me,
know.
once it starts getting into double digits for me, like I'm going to start asking questions like, okay, like, you know, tell me about your past, right? If she starts getting to like 15, 20, 30, like past 20, it's like, okay, what, like, I want to take a close look at it. What's actually happened here, especially the younger a woman is. Because if a person has a series of failed relationships over and over again, especially a woman, there could be a lot of things that happen there. It's like, okay, what were you doing? Were you doing one night stands for like a few years, constantly getting railed by guys at bars?
Can I ask?
What's up?
So did it come up in conversation with you and your girlfriend? And if so, like, how did it come up then?
It did. And I asked her, but out of respect for her, I don't want to say anything more about that conversation.
Yeah, no, of course.
But yeah, it did. Like I asked her just very frankly. And it was like, initially she was like, whoa, like, why are you asking me that? And
At
then
what
like,
point?
And then what did you say?
once like we started to know that like we were interested in one another and it was like mutual, like there was a mutual understanding, then I asked.
And what was your reasoning though? Because she was like, she was thrown off, right? She was like, where is this coming from?
The reason is, why is it like a roadblock in between the understanding of why men asked is, the reason is because he's still at the courting stage of knowing who this woman is. Is she worth me dying for? That's the ultimate point. Is she worth me dying for? Am I going to die in vain? If I die for this woman, will I die in total confidence that this woman was very innocent and she didn't do anything for me to be shamed? If I give her my last name, if I give her half of all my shit, would it be in vain? Saying that she was a hoe all along. I should have seen it. Ain't nothing worse than that. Ain't nothing worse than not doing the proper courting and finding out later that, okay, I didn't ask enough questions just because I cared about her feelings more than making the right decision. And men do that a lot. And they end up losing their family and half of everything. It's not worth it. So I don't care when it comes to women. I don't care about you feeling offended about me asking questions, because I'm protecting myself. Just like if you ask me, hey, have you ever beat a woman before? How do you handle situations? How do you handle arguments? Do you get aggressive? Like, those questions are needed. Okay, this is how you avoid situations. But if you don't ask that questions, you are solely accountable for your decisions. And everybody gonna call you a dumbass. Well, bro, you should have asked. You should have known. Ask around. Do your research.
And you were like, well, this is why I want to know. Like, what was your, like, this is why I want to know?
It's a great question. Basically exactly what I'm describing to you. So, and I'll add some context. There's a lot of data on the number of premarital sexual partners somebody's had and what their likelihood of divorce is in marriage.
And that was your idea, like going in, you're like, I want to know.
Yeah, that's
one of the main reasons.
Once I saw the data on like body count and the number of partners either a man or a woman has had, I was like, yo, this is an important thing because my parents got divorced and I want to do everything I possibly can to minimize the chances of ever getting divorced to my partner. Like it's the worst thing that you can ever go through in marriage, obviously. And so it's like there's a lot of different factors that go into divorce. Maybe one person is really bad at listening to the other. Maybe one person is like lazy, whatever. But the number of premarital sexual partners somebody's had, it's like a direct correlation. The higher that number, the higher the chances of divorce. So to give you an example, a virgin on average has less than 5% chance of getting divorced. Somebody with more than 10 sexual partners on average, 50% chance of getting divorced. That's a big deal. And this is for both sexes. That's a big deal. So if you're somebody who really cares about marriage and you don't want to get divorced, especially as a man, because men get absolutely screwed in divorce, you want to ask those questions. And so I was very upfront with her. I was like, this is what I'm optimizing for.
He did his due diligence. He did what he's supposed to do. And I don't think he should be shamed for it. And most men are shamed for asking great questions like that. But I don't think he should be shamed for it. I think that every man should hold a woman accountable to what she did in her past, because she gonna hold you accountable for what you done in your past. That's everybody. That happens. That's how you avoid bad people. That's how you avoid bad situations. Know who you're around, because you are solely responsible for who's around you. Nobody cares if you were innocent and you didn't know. Well, that's still goddamn fault. You still got hurt. So seeing everybody around you, I will be a dumb person to see everybody around me going through the same thing. And they're coming out of those situations saying, damn, bro, I didn't know this person was like that. Men and women. So how do I avoid that in the best possible way I can? And if I got to hurt feelings doing it, I'm going to do it.
Marriage, this is why I care. And it's like, there's different reasons other than that why it matters. It's like if somebody was a serial monogamist, for example, that's different than if they were cheating on their ex-partner, which is different than if they were getting railed at bars all the time. Like you want to know about the person's psychology, and when you have that conversation, you can gain insight into like, who are you? How do you approach relationships? And if you care about marriage, you can gain valuable information there.
Annie, it looked like you
Yeah, I
had
wanna say
something to say.
Because I must be an anomaly.
You gotta speak into your mic.
I must be an anomaly because my husband never asked that question.
Well, most guys in your generation don't. Like it's kind of like an our generation thing.
So here's
Because the thing is this, not every guy is going to ask because they know that the woman will be repulsed by that question. All right. So the best thing not to do, if you don't want the woman to get mad, or, you don't want to hurt people's feelings. You're non-confrontational. OK, the best thing for a non-confrontational person is to not ask, because you don't want the problems. All right. The arguments are not worth it. A lot of times, a lot of men are non-confrontational because we got a whole bunch of other we got to deal with. But just because your man did that does not mean he did not care about your past. It just means that he didn't ask. OK, maybe at the time he's older. He probably did his fair share and things like that. He said, you know what? I'm cool. I'm cooling with her. All right. But you cannot expect that, because men do care. All right. That's the argument. Men care.
the thing, though. Rahab was related to Jesus Christ. So was Tamar.
Huh?
They had some bad mojo before they were with their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, okay.
if you're going to truly be Christ-like, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm not trying to disrespect you,
I don't feel
that's not going to
disrespected.
matter. Because that person,
I hate, this is what I hate, right, about being a religious person, being a Christian, being in any religion, especially when it comes to women, right? Me being raised by a single mother, a lot of times they bring up verses that benefit them. You shouldn't care because you're Christian. You have to forgive. You have to let everything slide. And I honestly believe that this is why the country is where it's at, because they expect Christians to keep laying down. You're not supposed to have morals. Okay, God forgave everybody. He forgive you, so you supposed to accept everything. You're a Christian. That's what you truly believe. No, that's not what it's about. Okay, God does forgive, but that don't mean I have to. That don't mean I have to accept everything from a person, because of nine times out of 10 you wouldn't either. But people use Christianity as a sword on other Christians because they want you to accept everybody. That's not what Christianity is for, because God is not everybody's going to heaven. So therefore, he's judging you too. So therefore, I have to judge to make sure I'm not around a crappy person, because it's still going to be my fault. I live in the real world. That doesn't make you a bad person for judging someone. I think that you truly avoid bad people by judging them, because if you got bad characteristics, I gotta pull back, yo. I'm good. But if I say, hey, bro, I'm a Christian, God said don't judge, I'm just going to accept everything, you will always fail as a person. I truly believe that. You may think you're a great person, but you're also a gullible person, and you will always be led astray. It's that simple. Have great discernment. You have to judge people. And I'm sorry, that's what it come with. Because if you have bad characteristics, I have to be judging you for me to even figure that out.
If you love them, that what they've done before does not matter.
So
it doesn't matter. And
Hold on,
I'm married
hold on,
14 years now.
Is like, I just want to know if you're.
It's just not fair. It's not fair. That's all I'm saying.
I truly believe this, especially when it comes to women, they don't like being held accountable for nothing, right? What I did in the past, so what? Get over it. Let me just do what I'm doing. If I did the stuff in the past, so what? What does that have to do with you? I still deserve a great man. I still deserve a Christian, God-fearing man when I've been a whore of Babylon for 60 years. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You don't deserve if you do bad things, you don't deserve to go to heaven. That's in the Bible. If you're a horrible person, you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, right? We're talking Christianity here. I don't know about other religions. If you don't repent for your sins, you're not going to heaven. So that means you still getting held accountable for your actions. So if I'm holding you accountable for your actions, that doesn't mean that I'm a horrible person. That doesn't mean I ain't Christ-like. It just means that you should be held accountable for your actions. What you did in your past is a resemblance of how you handle things. All right. That's who you were at the time. A lot of people go back, sad to say, but a lot of people go back to bad habits. If you handle things like that in your past, a lot of times you might handle things like that when stuff get rough. So I don't want to be the bearer of your bad habits. I don't. Because either way, like I said before, I am responsible for who I hang around and who I choose to be in my life. So therefore, I have to be super critical of who's around me. All right. I'm from the streets of California, bro. I've been to prison just for me being around a person. All right. My first time ever been in trouble, it was still my fault because my mother told me, hey, man, don't hang around this person. I knew the person was bad, but, that's my cousin. I grew up with him. Right. But I was still held accountable. I had no criminal record, never done a drug. All right. But I am held accountable because I didn't have the discernment. I didn't judge enough. I was too iffy. I was too okay. He has a heart because I know his mom and his dad. All right. He ain't that evil. OK, that led me straight to getting the record. Now I'm stamped for life. Felon. All right. Forgetting all the good stuff you did. Look at that on your background. I'm always being judged for what I did, even though I didn't do it. I was just there. So when it comes to that, that's one of the extremes of hanging around people, forgiving everything people do, being gullible. It's still your fault. Now imagine a father, a husband, wifing up a chick that had a past, a horrible past, okay? Thinking that she got over it. She know how to handle things. She good. Okay. I forgive her. I want to be Christ-like. I want to forgive her. I want to give her a chance. She go back to her old habits. You're not good enough for her because she used to having toxic relationships. You're too boring. She used to, having a 12-inch whatever. You're not good enough. Okay, you're not doing it. Okay, she thought she wanted that. You know, women change, their emotions change. I don't want this anymore because I know how I feel to, you know, have fun. I want fun. I want drama. I need it. Okay, you're too boring for me. You take the kids, you take half of my stuff. Now I'm held accountable for everything. And a lot of guys, sadly, they self-harm themselves because of this. So it is a very critical decision. Dating for men is a very critical decision because you have the risk of losing everything. When you lose your babies, it's everything. So why not be critical? Why not do the hard work now? Start when it matters, because when it don't matter, when you should have done it, you already penalized for it. Start when it matters, okay? And hold women accountable. I don't care if she don't like it. You must be held accountable.
Okay,
It's not fair.
I hear what you're
What do you
saying.
mean it's not fair?
Hold
Who
on.
cares?
Wait, let me say one thing. Let me say
It's
one
just
thing.
not fair.
The life's unfair. The world's unfair. Women curve short dudes because they're short.
Brian, you get a pass
Sorry,
because you're not
Kings.
these two dudes.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, so here's the thing.
Because
so
these
here's
guys
the
are
thing.
Christ followers.
You're saying
they're
you're
supposed
saying,
to have grace for women and all.
That's the example of what I was talking about, guys. They expect you to be you have to over forgive. Forget your discernment. Be forgiving. You're a Christian. Forgive a whore. Be with her. Love her. Cherish her because she said that she wants to give her life to God. And to me, it destroys me to know that. I mean, nobody's perfect, fine, but a lot of women will turn to God because they done did so much in the streets and they want a good guy. It has to benefit them. Okay, I'm gonna give my life to God because I want to change my life of being a whore. I want to erase that, a born again person, and I want a man to come by and save me. This is why they do it. Forget my past. I don't want to be held accountable for that. I want to be forgiven, and I want everybody to accept me. No, God forgave you, right? Christianity, God forgave you. But don't use it as a sword when a person says, you was a hoe, bro. I'm a Christian too, but look, I can't deal with you. No, you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to accept me. No, I'm not. I'm not supposed to accept you. I'm not. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. It's just not something I want to do. But they will enforce that on you. And that's the hypocrite. That's the hypocrisy of Christianity. And that's the hypocrisy of the inside of Christianity, because you got people who will use it to get around good people after doing horrible things. All right. Not everybody is as innocent as you think they are just because they're Christian. I'm sorry. I am sorry. It's not, I don't trust everybody. I don't give a crap about them in church. I don't want to be around everybody. I don't trust everybody. I just don't. That doesn't make me a bad Christian. It's just that I don't trust everybody because humans are manipulative.
All areas.
Just because we're Christian doesn't mean we have to marry prostitutes.
They can have
No,
preference.
I'm not telling you guys to do that. But
Everyone can have preference.
you know what? Rahab was redeemed by a spy. I just preached on this at a church on Sunday. She was redeemed by a spy that cared enough for her when the walls came down at Jericho to take her out of that lifestyle.
But isn't that the
Hey, that's
exception to
good.
the rule? And when you look at your lifestyle,
gonna
even
marry
you say maybe I'm the exception. Yes, girl, you are the
Simple.
exception. Look at the
But it can
upbringing
happen.
that you had, and look at everything that you.
I want him to expand his mind and not be so judgmental.
All right.
No, it's detrimental to a man to not be judgmental when it comes to this subject. What don't y'all understand? Like, men are creating self-harm at a high rate because of not making the right decision and not reading the signs, because you let it go, but because you're told in society, don't judge women. You're mean. Don't be rude. You're a Christian. Stop being mean. What are you doing being mean? What are you doing judging people? You're a Christian. Shut up. That is causing men to die at a high rate. It's not normal the way we dying, bro. It's not normal. And this needs to be checked at the door. Forget waiting. We gonna check it out the door and forget your feelings. You might be hurt by it. So freaking what? So be it. And that's gonna save a life. So what? We hold women accountable. Y'all not as innocent as y'all used to be. So we're not gonna be as gentle as we used to be when it come to questioning y'all. It's not gonna be like that. No, I'm sorry. And this is my saying. And if you go back on my other videos, you'll hear me say it. Nowadays, the Titanic ship, okay? If it was sinking, most women will not be allowed to get off that boat before men because y'all are no longer innocent. No longer innocent. Y'all have done a whole bunch of bad, and y'all still expect men to die for y'all. Y'all still expect men to forgive. Y'all still expect men to forget. That's not going to happen anymore. Like I said, I'm a Christian conservative guy. I understand the importance of the nuclear family, and I understand the importance of women. But y'all are trying to stray away from y'all natural ability to give birth. Y'all trying to stray away from the natural feeling of being under a man's authority and being with a man and having a family with a man. Y'all want to stray away from that. So what's the point of us dying for y'all at this point? Like, we're not getting the same exchange. We should die in grace, knowing that you gonna teach the kids how to be better people. You gonna be the woman. You gonna be the mom that you should be. Okay. You gonna give birth. Now you trying to run away from giving birth. You don't even want to do that no more. You trying to abort the kid. You running away from everything a woman used to be. So why should we give you chivalry? Why should we give you patience? And why should we forgive you? You're not the same as you used to be. Being immoral is now moral. You don't want anybody to judge you. So if that's the case, don't be around me. Don't be around me because you judging me. You won't want to be around a mass murderer and say he go to church and say, hey man, hey, I help you I help you babysit on Sunday. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna be like, not the best person to do it. And if you don't, I apologize for your children.
Possibly love.
My mind is fully expanded. I will not marry a prostitute.
I'm not saying that they're still doing it.
Annie, may I please respond to everything that you just said? Okay. There is room for Christ-like love, and there is also room for wisdom and discernment in terms of who you are entering a marital contract into. Okay, you can forgive someone for their past. Someone can have a past. That doesn't mean that you're obligated to marry them. Okay, so if I'm having a conversation with a woman and she has a past, but she regrets her past and she's repentant of it. Let's say, maybe she had like a bad pattern in her past. Maybe she, was looking for love in all the wrong places, something like that. And she developed a habit of sleeping with men too easily or something. Like that is something that a person can learn from. And there's also absolutely room for Christ-like forgiveness for something like that. There's no question. Everybody can be made new again in Christ. Okay. Why I would care though still as a man is because I want to know what happened there, because if I'm going to get married to you, unless we're signing a prenup or something like that, like I need to know, who are you? How do you approach relationships? I can have forgiveness for your past, but how do you approach relationships? Because here in America, we've got no fault.
And I heard what he just said, the prenup situation. A prenup situation does not subsidize her past, okay? You might think that that's going to help. Like, yeah, she has a promiscuous past, but in order to fix this, I'm just going to get a prenup. No, it's still an embarrassment for the man, okay? It's still a shame. Walking around with a whore with your last name is, for a man, is very shameful. You had other options. Why you choose a person that, like, everybody done touched? But she said, hey, man, like, I changed. You the dummy who bought it? You the dummy who bought the used truck? I'm not saying women are trucks, but I'm putting it in an analogy. You the dummy who bought the cap that she was telling you. You the fool. I can't respect you. And what comes with that is great shame and the loss of respect from your peers. And that means a lot to men. Little do women know, but that means a lot to men.
Divorce. Is there something there that might lead you one day to just decide you want to divorce me and absolutely screw me and take my kids and half my income and everything like that? Is there something that could be lurking there? Because if there is, I want to know about it. I'm not obligated to marry a woman with a past. If I'm entering into a contract with somebody, I want to know who I'm entering into that contract with. But you can still love them and forgive them. What'd you say?
You don't have to be a prostitute to do that. Divorce someone and take all their money. Okay, there's plenty of women
Exactly.
that do that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
come
there
on,
are.
man.
There are, which is
That's not the point. That's not the point. I see what she's saying. Like, you don't have to be a whore in order to have those type of to do those type of actions. But we're working on what's the possibility, and being a person who slept around has a less possibility for a successful marriage. So he's weighing out his options. We're not saying that all women who are virgins, who have less sexual partners, are great and they will never divorce you and they will never take your stuff. They will never have bad intentions, because humans are humans, but they have less of a possibility of doing that.
And most people nowadays are not prudent about who they marry. Most marriages end in divorce. A lot of people just get up in their feelings and they fall in love with somebody and they don't have the really hard conversations. They don't ask the really tough questions, both men and women. A lot of women don't vet men properly for their red flags. A lot of women end up with men who are abusive. Yeah, a man could have had an abusive past. A man could have been a murderer. It's a woman's job to see if that was the case, because if he was a murderer, she can forgive him and have Christ-like love for him. But is she still obligated to marry him? Would it be a good idea?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you just have to open your mind, because what if there is...
No, you can't say, I'm not saying that, and skip the point. So what are you saying? He literally gave you what you just said. Forgive. She deserves your love. Murder it. Oh, no, I'm not saying that. It's like a bias when it comes to men. All right. You're supposed to accept that. You're the man. All right. You're supposed to accept stuff. I'm women. I'm supposed to judge you and I'm supposed to ask for so much, but I'm not supposed to give anything. You're supposed to give me forgiveness, your last name, your 50% of everything you got. If it get bad, but you cannot judge me. That's one thing you can't do. Know why? Because you're a Christian. Amazing.
A person that you meet, and I'm going to pray that for you, by the way.
You're going to pray for him.
I'm going to pray for him to run into
girl?
a woman that's so, he can't handle the attraction he has, and it's so strong that it's actually spiritual too.
Look.
And he's like compelled to marry her.
We're not
compelled.
against the Christian marrying a prostitute.
I'm just
see
saying
that in Hosea.
that
Hosea gets a direct
that's
command
the
from
redemption. That's what Christ did for the church.
Yeah, but do you want redemption because you want to be accepted by men, or you want redemption from Christ because you really want to change your life? At this point, like I said before, it's like women try to go to Christ to get their sins erased just for them to find another man. No, if you're doing it, do it for Jesus Christ. Do it because you want to get closer to God. Don't do it because you want my acceptance, because that's not going to, and it's never going to work that way. You want God acceptance. Do it for Jesus Christ, and people will see your intentions by the way you act.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
beautiful. And I cry for this because there is so many women out there, and I'm going to cry for them, that they just want someone to love them and give them a chance.
You're not owed a relationship. You're not.
I know, but still.
You gotta hit her with the logic. I know she crying, but so hit her with the logic, man. Nobody cares. Just like how men are out in the streets, you can't save everybody, bro. Just like how men are out in the streets, guys are like, bro, what happened? Why'd you let yourself get like that? Like, what happened? You still get held accountable for your actions. Women do not like it. They will listen to anybody that redirect accountability. Okay. They will listen to the person and say, body count don't matter. Those men are insecure. Those men, this and that. They will listen to anybody that will redirect accountability and make it seem like it's okay to be immoral and an immoral person. No, this is why the world is turning the way it is, because being immoral is now the new thing, and not being judged is now the new thing. Shame needs to come back. Accountability needs to come back, especially when it comes to women, and duty, because when you have a purpose, nothing comes between that. But nothing comes before God, but nothing comes between purpose as far as being a father and building the next generation. That's more important than what you truly want to do, because you might want to go sleep around with everybody and stuff like that. But you know that if I do this will mess up my reputation. This will mess up how men look at me, how men treat me. This will shame my parents, shame my family. I'm not gonna do no foolish stuff like that, because I love myself, and I love the people around me, and I understand that my decisions will destroy who's around me and the next generation, the people who look up to me. That's more important than your own decisions, because you're not, most of us, right, are not the best decision makers, but you also understand what comes with your decisions. If you understand accountability, so you don't make those decisions, especially when it comes to men and violence. Hey, if I hurt this dude right away, I know he's saying some stupid stuff to me or whatever, I want to get at him, especially coming from the streets. I want to get at him. But at the end of the day, it's not worth it, because I got so much to lose. I got people that look up to me. I got people that need me. Why would I do that? Okay, duty, understanding that I'm not above God. Okay, I'm not above anything. I'm just a part of everything. That makes sense. I'm a part of my family. I'm a part of things that matter. So doing this will destroy my family. Doing this will destroy the people that look up to me. Doing this will destroy my future, my future generation. Why would I do this? Why? And that needs to come back in society, because it humbled people. It wasn't always about them. All right. I deserve your forgiveness because I'm a woman and I changed. Not enough. It's not enough. I'm sorry, because your past will dictate my future.
But that's why Christ came.
What?
So we can all be redeemed.
I guess that's why maybe it could kind of
I
suck.
fight for
It's
the
like,
girls, that's all. I fight.
That's fair. That's fair, and I respect that.
And we fight for men over here. We fight for men because it's not a war, but it is a war in court. It is a war when it comes to self-harm, because it's at a high rate, and you can't just say it just doesn't exist. All right, you want acceptance, but we want them to stop hurting themselves. You want love, but we want men to stop self-harming themselves. We want families to stop being destroyed. We want women to understand that this is very serious to us. We want women to understand us more than anything, because we're risking our life for y'all. We risking our life by just dealing with y'all on a regular dating basis, marriage basis, starting a family with somebody who's not worthy. We're dying because of it. So it's very important. And I'm not willing to get that up for your feelings. I don't care if you're crying. I'm sorry. I'm trying to save the next man, because most men are blinded by beauty. Most men are blinded by lies. Most men are blinded by the social pressure of not asking these questions. And we saying that these questions are needed to be asked more than ever now. And guys, that's the video. And please turn on the notification bell if you subscribe to this, and like, comment, subscribe if you like the content. To wrap it all up, women lost duty in America, and it led to men losing track as well, because men will do anything for a woman's validation, if that makes sense. Women need to understand what men want, and men need to be what women need. You have to be masculine. All right. When it comes to raising a family, you have to have your stuff in order. You cannot always bend the knee to society, although it might hurt somebody's feelings. We are in a feelings-based society to where you can't hurt nobody's feelings. And that overrides the truth. That overrides the next generation, because people's feelings is not worth being hurt. And I say that, forget people's feelings, hold them accountable for their actions. I don't care for people getting held accountable. Now, if you lying on them, it's a big difference. But if you hold them accountable for what they did, how are you wrong? I say that we need to check that in society, and that will change a lot of things, because people understand that they take this route, it's consequence to that, especially women. If you take this route, it's consequence to that. Ain't no way around it. We not justifying it. We don't care. On this side, we not budging when it comes to that. You just, certain things you cannot do. When you allow things to slip through the cracks, you become more immoral, because what else you let that go, and you say you will never let that, you let that happen, and you say you'll never let that happen. What's next? Okay, it's still your fault. So you might as well keep holding the same standard, because it's always going to be your fault. Well, I didn't ask her about her body count because I didn't want her feelings to be hurt. Okay, now you're the good guy, but yeah, you still got divorced and everything got taken away from you. So it's still your fault. It's still your fault. You should have asked anyway. So what if somebody's feelings is hurt? It might hurt you that you may have lost a person right then and there, but it probably was your best bet, because you lost someone that was not worth what you're willing to give. Understand duty, bro, and hold people accountable that's next to you, and they'll learn that if they're around you, you may lose a lot of friends. Because I lost a lot of friends, bro. I lost a lot of people because if you gonna hang around me, I gotta hold you accountable. You can't be around me and be a loser. You can't be around me and be lazy and make excuses all day. You can't, bro. And I'm gonna hold you accountable for that. I'm not gonna be the one that's not gonna say nothing. And you need to be that person in your life because you are accountable for who's around you. All right, and people do drag you down, and it might not even be your fault. Who cares? It is your fault because you allowed it to happen. So if that's the case, be judgmental. Hold yourself accountable as well, because if you do that, you won't allow yourself to make excuses. There's no way out but accountability, and that will make you a better person because everything is up to you. If you want to change, it's up to you. If you lose in life, it's up to you. It's your fault because everybody else gonna hold you accountable for it. So you might as well take account. You might as well take responsibility, bro. If you like this content, like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, man. South Central, we out.
There's so many dark ways, there's so many dark days in these dark clouds. Lord, can you forgive me? I got niggas tryna chip me. Cause you know these streets get tricky. Cause you know these streets get tricky. They get tricky, baby.